I'm just gonna set the vibe, make sure that I am comfortable, because then I can get into a flow state. Because speaking on camera, it's not the easiest thing to do, even though I've done it countless times now. Initially, there's still like a resistance, so I just kind of want to eliminate that. Because what I tend to do is I have numerous videos where I'm talking and the content in the video is excelente, but the visuals are all over the place. So they don't even go anywhere. So I'm trying to be more intentional and a bit more mindful about how I record my videos. So something that I've been wanting to speak about is beauty standards. And something I realized a long time ago is that you're not ugly, you're just trying to appeal to the wrong demographic. And your features aren't undesirable. Again, you're just trying to appeal to the wrong demographic. You're trying to fit yourself into a box that you're just never going to fit inside of. And what triggered me to bring that theory back to the surface is I've seen the rise in really invasive plastic surgeries, particularly surgeries that target your ethnic features. So I'm talking about nose jobs, full body surgeries such as like BBLs, and one new surgery that I've seen a couple times now is forehead reduction surgery. That's the one that led me to making this video, forehead surgeries, because as somebody who has a big forehead herself, that one hit differently because in my head I was thinking, who told you that your big forehead was ugly? Like, who told you that? And at what point did we collectively internalize that big foreheads are deemed undesirable? And I think as well, what contributes to that perspective is the increase in wig wearing, and particularly wigs that you wear in front of your hairline. Because what is happening is a lot of us are wearing wigs, we're gluing these wigs onto our heads, we're bringing them before our hairlines, and then we're developing dysmorphia because once you take off the wig, you've taken off some of your hairline, and also your hairline now looks further back than it originally was. And you look at yourself and you look unrecognizable to yourself. But it's like, no, your forehead has always maintained this position. It's always been that size. Because on a daily basis, you're bringing your hairline forward naturally. Once you remove it, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is insane. It's just the same way that when you wear eyelashes a lot and when you take them off, you feel naked. It's the same thing. But I think the fact that women are now going to extremes to get forehead reduction surgery is concerning. I decided to do a little bit of research, and I discovered that during the Renaissance era, the European women, so the women of European descent, actually used to pluck their hairlines as a sign of beauty because they deemed big foreheads being beautiful. So what I find interesting is how much trends fluctuate, and you know, during one era something is like really popular and it's trending and it becomes a part of the beauty standard, and then in another era it's the complete opposite. But I think this is important. I think this is why it's also important to really have a strong identity of self and really know who you are, not just internally but externally. Know how you are presenting to the world and the importance of your features. The way that we have been made, like particularly people of the black diaspora, it's not just for beauty aesthetic purposes. There's actual science behind the way our hair coils the way it does, why our noses are as large as they are, why our foreheads are as large as they are. You know, there's reasons behind these things. And I personally don't find anything wrong with having a larger forehead. Um, especially when I know that amongst certain communities and certain tribes across the continent, this is deemed as a mark of beauty. And if we look at the east of Africa, I think we can all agree that some of the most beautiful women in the world come from East Africa. And East Africans typically are known to have larger foreheads. And that's just from the African perspective, right? But if we look at people in America, for example, who also paved the way for larger forehead ladies, we look at Tyra Banks, one of the most popular supermodels in the whole world, Rihanna, one of the most popular, rich, talented artists in the world. And these women have large, by society standards, if we're looking at Eurocentric standards now, if we're using that as a point of reference, have really large foreheads. But to me, that is what adds to their beauty. It doesn't take away from their beauty. And I just think we're in a time where everything is being like nitpicked. Every little small thing is being nitpicked. You don't need to have a symmetrical face. You don't need to have a perfect hairline. If you even look at like the natural gradient of a hairline, like everybody's hairline starts thin at the perimeter and then gradually thickens up. That's just the way hairlines have been created. But when we're wearing these wigs and extensions and they are promoting like really full hairlines, you are going to think that you're balding when you're really not. And I do also want to acknowledge the damage that these things do to our hairlines. But generally speaking, your hairline is okay. Your forehead size is normal. It is proportionate for your face. And I just think it's really important to constantly build on your self identity. Learn how to truly embrace the features that you have, whether it's your hair type, your hair texture, whether it's your skin color, whether it's your really prominent facial features. Learn to love and embrace them because they are with you forever. And this is like my your face and my face are made up of our ancestors. Like I look how I look because of the people who were here before me. Like this is not I do not own my beauty, if that makes sense. It was given to me. And I would hate to dishonor that and do a disservice to my ancestors. I'm very proud of how I look. I'm very proud of the hair type that I have. The fact that it's afro. You know, I've had locks. I'm all for fully embracing the things that make me an African woman, essentially a woman of African descent. I want to ensure as well that I share that messaging and that more women boldly accept themselves and radically accept themselves and rebelliously accept themselves, because in today's society it is revolutionary almost to love yourself and to really accept yourself and to own your identity as an African woman, as a woman of African descent. However you want to word it, then so be it. But I think the more we start to really own that and walk in that power, the more we will see that we are really unique. We are really unique. And, you know, I notice it now, like when I go out with my hair like this, I notice that I'm one of the few people in the environment that looks like this. And I love that and I own that. And I want to encourage other women to, I guess, return to self and embrace your God-given beauty and your God-given features, because they are beautiful. And all that's happening is that when it comes to beauty standards, things are getting picked apart and then they're getting repackaged and then they're getting sold back to you. So I would just be conscious of how you're navigating your expression when it comes to your expression of self, like your appearance. I'll be conscious of that. And I think that's for a separate conversation, because the more we pacify and oppress the features that make us who we are as women of African descent, as black people, as black women, the more we're kind of erasing our identity. We are erasing our identity because we are only going to pass the baton. And if we pass these decisions that we make when it comes to beauty that are rooted in low self esteem, low confidence, what can we expect for the generations to come? And we are some of the most flamboyant, expressive, loud, proud people in the world. But sometimes that is just a mask, because if we were to take off the costume, will we still be able to truly embody that audaciousness that we have? Because we do. There's an audaciousness about us that is not in a negative way, in a positive way, that we have. And I sometimes think, like, imagine if the average black woman wore her natural hair, like wore an afro, whatever, wore it straight, wore it blowed out. It's just her natural hair. I just think that it would change a frequency. I feel like it would really, really change a frequency. So, so I would implore you and encourage you to fully embrace yourself. And instead of trying to change things externally, start with changing things internally. So the goal should be to change how you view something, change your perception of something. That's where the power lies, because nothing else should have to change. You can just change how you view this thing and how you feel about this thing. And that may take a long time, but I promise you, in the long run, you'll thank yourself, because then you'll have a true, real sense of confidence, a sense of self, and sense of identity that is unshakable. And then no one can repackage something and sell you something to perpetuate your insecurities and make you spend your money and your time and your energy on changing what you have been given at birth. You were assigned a body at birth. Why not just give it a chance? Give it a chance to fully be lived in. So those are just some of my thoughts, some things that have been on my mind recently. I do want to make a video in more detail about natural hair, about us as black women embracing our natural hair, because I feel like that is a separate conversation and I don't want this video to go on too long. But I hope you found this helpful. I hope, if anything, it sparked at least a conversation or questions within yourself. It may have just been a seed planter, and who knows, in a couple months you may start to see some growth from that seed. But ultimately, I just want to advocate for the embodiment of ourselves, because I think nowadays in society there's such a big focus on presenting in a particular way, presenting as this clean girl aesthetic or feminine or soft girl. But let's get back to who we truly are, internally and externally. And I think the easiest thing to change are your external features first, but ultimately the change does have to come from inwards, and that will just naturally reflect outward. But yeah, I hope you found this video helpful, and I shall catch you in the next one.